Good morning, virtual villagers. Hi, I'm Kate from What Kate Made, and today we're going to be looking at ways to use up all those bits of scrap paper that you have here. So when you're making something using a coloured paper or a patterned paper, bits that you might have left over, doesn't have to be coloured or patterned, could be plain, but it's just a way of using up those little bits and pieces. So if you're a crafty card maker or you do scrapbooking, you might want to create your own little embellishments to add to your pages or your cards or your own toppers. And you can do that quite easily using just some simple tools, pair of scissors, some glue, scrap paper. And it is a way of using up all those bits of paper. I don't like to waste anything. I'm really quite frugal with all my materials, so I like to reuse them where I can. So I'm just going to show you a few of the things I've made up to demonstrate to you today that use up your odds and ends of scrap paper. So what we're going to be creating are basically some shapes and layering them up. So this is, there was a template available with hearts. I think it was hearts and flowers on it. I've also got circles here, but you can just draw around anything to make a circle. So this one is the flower one, and I've also put in the middle a little button. I have loads and loads of buttons, but you can see that there's a slight, I've used foam pads to stick it here, so it gives it slightly raised effect. So that is the smallest of the flowers, but you could, if you've got a good cutter outer, which I'm not, or if you've got those craft paper punches are great, cutting shapes out, and you can get them in decreasing sizes. So, but I'm quite happy to just cut out. That was a flower one. This is just circles, and as you can see, I've tried to coordinate the colours. So I've got this nice sort of tartan paper, and then red, which picks up the red in the tartan, and then the dark green button in the middle. Now you can use varying shapes of circles, so you can make them, you can layer them up, you can use smaller buttons. There's lots of things you can do with them. So those are two that are just like toppers for cards or whatever you want to use them for. Excuse me, I'm a bit croaky this morning. Another way of using up smaller pieces of scrap paper is to create your own striped paper like this. So I'll show you how to do that. I've used double-sided card on this one, so that can make a hanger. I don't know whether you saw my Valentine's crafts, which was a long time ago now, but I did some hanging vertical bunting using this heart shape, so that can be used for that. The other hearts that I cut out, I just last night when I was practicing, I just layered up two, so I matted two together. And this one has got a push pin on the back. So if you have a notice board, you can use it on your notice board to display letters and whatever it is you put on your notice board. Okay, so as regards tools, I've got a pair of scissors. These aren't an expensive pair of scissors, they're just craft scissors because paper's quite easy to cut. I've got some 3D sticky foam pads in various different sizes and shapes. They're quite handy because they give you a little bit of a three-dimensional aspect. I've also got glue dots. I find these really handy. So these are little ones. I don't think you see very well because they're clear, but they're little ones, and these are slightly bigger ones. So depending on what sort of element you want to stick on, but they're handy because they're instant. You don't have to wait for the glue to dry, which is the same with double-sided tape. I've been using this to do the stripes. If you don't have double-sided tape, you can use a glue stick, but it will take time to dry. So I'm using this because it's quicker today. Right, so what else have I got here? I've also got here a steel ruler, a cutting mat, which you'll see in a minute when I turn the camera down, and a scalpel, just because I find when I'm cutting strips, this is easier. But you don't have to have those. You could just mark out your strips with a pencil and then cut them, or make them a lot more random. You could even tear them. That would be quite nice. Never thought about that. Right, so there was template sheets, which I think were hearts and flowers. So these are my templates. I've collected various sizes of these over the years. And what I'd like to do with mine is print them out onto card if you've got a card that printer that'll accept card. Mine won't, so I tend to print mine out on a sticky back paper and then stick them on the card, then cut them out, which is a bit of a long way around, but because my printer won't take card. They're my circles. I didn't print them out, I just drew around things. I've also got a star because I suddenly thought about Christmas. I've got heart-shaped templates in 3 or 4 sizes, and I've got 3 shapes of flower templates. So these are all depending on how big your scrap of paper is and what you want to do with the end result. So scraps of paper. I'm going to turn the camera down so you can see what I've got here on my desk. Just bear with me a second. I should just say, today, I don't have my other device, so I'm not seeing people's comments. So I hope somebody's out there watching, but I will read back your comments later and answer them. But in the meantime, hello. So my bits of scrap paper that I've gathered together, as you can see, they've all had bits done with them. So that might be a whole piece, actually. This is a double-sided card, so but everything's had something cut out of it. I tried to only cut out the corners when I'm cutting. Oh, there's another circle. But as you can see, I've got various different patterns. That's another double-sided one. That one's had a couple of hearts cut out of it. That's double-sided as well. The other thing you might want to do with your craft paper, instead of cutting a shape out of it, you might want to take an element out of it. So for instance, this one has these nice flowers on, and you might just want to cut around them and then add embellishments to it, or stick that on a circle. In fact, I think I will do that with that one. So I'm going to put that one to one side. And probably the same with that one, because that has quite distinct shapes that would be quite easy to cut out. So I'm going to start by showing you the layered up circle and button one. So you could use this on a card, or if you do scrapbooking particularly, it's quite nice to make up your own elements. I'm not going to be too precise about my cutting out of my circles because I quite like that sort of random element. So I'm going to pick a couple of these that I like. So I quite like that one. And I think that one goes with it quite well as well. Okay, so let's just pop these other ones to one side. And I'm going to cut it out using the flower template. Where have I put them? I knew it was going to be one of those days today when I got no sleep last night. I have a new dog. I've just had them in my hand. And my new dog kept me awake all night. I may have got them mixed up with mine. Please bear with me. Right, I'm going to go with hearts instead. I don't know where those templates have gone, and I've just had them in my hand. They'll turn up. So we'll take the hearts instead, because I think that'll work nice on this pink. So the other thing you can do when you've got just odd scraps like this is pick your where you want to cut your shape out, because this one particularly has a very big pattern, and I might want to have my shape cut out of this nice sort of patterned area, or this sort of feathery area here. So I'm going to take the smallest of my hearts and I'm going to cut it out of this area here. No, I've lost my pencil. So I'm going to actually turn it over and draw on the other side so I don't get lines showing on my heart. And I know it's about there, the element that I want. So I'm going to draw around there. I have actually somewhere got a smaller heart than this, which I thought might be useful, but I could not find it last night. But I had some heart-shaped buttons, so that'll be just as nice. So I'm going to cut around my little heart. Because this has got a nice pattern on it. This is going to be the top of my layered up heart. And I'm going to choose a slightly bigger heart to put out of the pink. So there's my little blue heart. That's going to go in the middle. Put that to one side. Then I'm going to pick my slightly bigger heart, that size, and I'm going to put it in this corner because there's less patterning there, and it won't. This one isn't going to show a lot of patterning because it's going to have the other one layered on top of it. Just cut out that heart. Hearts are quite easy to cut out. It's easy to cut a curve. So I hope you're all watching. As I say, I'm really sorry I can't see your comments today. But I will read them all back while I'm having my lunch. So I've got my 2 paper hearts. And you can see they sit quite nicely one on top of the other. And the colours go nice together. So I'm going to have a quick look in my box of buttons here. These are my wooden buttons. And in here somewhere there are some heart shaped ones. So let's see if we can find. Oh, that one would be really nice. See if I tip them all out. I maybe should have just looked at them in the tin, but you can't always see what you want when you've got a lot in the tin. So I'm just going to very quickly put these away. I collect buttons wherever I see them, and but a lot of these wooden ones that are printed, I get from eBay. I get them as a spec. Just seeing if there's a better colour match, but I think that one's going to be it. And I keep my wooden buttons separate from the wooden buttons. Later. So now I've got my 3 elements for my little topper that I'm going to make, and I'm going to stick them together. So I've got, as I said before, I've got some of these. These are like a foam pad. They're not very thick. I also have some slightly bigger ones, but we'll maybe go with one of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one of the large ones. So that is a large circle. And you simply peel it off. It pops out and it's got glue on both sides. So you peel off the backing. This is where nails come in handy. And I'm going to stick that on the back of my blue heart. Now, you don't have to use the 3D element. You can just stick the hearts on one on top of the other using a glue stick. That's quite acceptable. So I'm going to carefully place that so it's right in the middle. Turn it upside down so you can see better. So you can see the pink all the way around. And then for my button, I'm going to use one of the glue dots. Now these, you just peel the backing off and there is a circle of glue there. So you press I'm going to press my button onto it and just peel it off. So the glue is left on the back. I don't know whether you can see that in this light. And then carefully place your button in the middle. So, like that. So, that one is now, it's beautiful. It's probably a little bit big for a scrapbook page, but if you bear with me a second, I've got some So if you take a card blank, we'll take that nice pink. Oh no, we'll take a blue one because the pink's on the outside on our heart. I'm just going to fold that in half. These are quite good because these are ready folded and scored. So that would be my greeting card. Look that way up for you. And I would just pop that in the centre and then maybe a little bit of script under here. And that would be a nice card. So that could be a Valentine's card. It could be for a husband or wife's birthday anniversary. It could be for even just for a mum or something like that. So you can see how a few pieces of scrap paper in a button have made a lovely card. Right, so that was the heart shapes. The next thing I'm going to show you is the striped paper. How to create your own striped paper. So this one that I've made, I chose a stiff card, a double-sided card for the backing, and then I've just picked up out of my scrap paper colours that matched it, and I found this little flower button which I thought was quite cute, so that's gone on it as well. And again, you could use that on a card. But so to start with, you need some of your papers coordinating. So you need a background, a stiffer paper or a card. And I'm looking through my little stash here. I've got, what have I got that's stiffer? There's some pink card here. So this is a plain card. So I'm going to use this as my background paper. And I'm just going to trim off this little element here. And I'm going to use my ruler and scalpel to do it, just because it's quicker for me. And I get a nice clean edge. Sometimes I have to score through it twice when it's card. There we go. So I'm going to save that because that bit's big enough to do a little heart on. See what? I'm really very frugal. So I think I might try these very funky papers for my stripes. These are kind of like funky 70s sort of style, and they go quite well with the pink. Also this one, the one I put aside before to use some of the elements. I could maybe cut out these whole flowers, but the smaller flowers I could make stripes with. So I'm going to take those three and I'm going to cut them all together into stripes. So I'm looking at my paper here. My cutting board is marked with 1/2 inches, so I might do some 1/2 inch stripes and I might do some inch stripes, and I might then leave the gaps of the card between them. So you could measure it with your ruler, draw the lines on and cut it out with your paper, with your scissors, but I'm going to use my scalpel just because it's quicker. So I'm going to mark, this is an inch line and this is a 1/2 inch line. So I'm going to line my ruler up on the 1/2 inch line, line my paper up on the inch line. I've not done it like this before. So now my cutting mat's magnetic and my ruler's obviously magnetic as well, or metal. So it makes it quite easy for me. And then I'm going to just draw that down really firmly to make sure I cut those off. So there I've got some stripes already. So there's 3 1/2 inch stripes, and I'll do an inch one as well. So now all you need to do is create a pattern on your card. So I'm going to randomly do mine, I think. I'm going to be a little bit, I'm not very random very often. I'm going to leave some of the pink card in between in narrow stripes. And I'm going to try not to make a pattern. I'm not very good at this because I always want things to be in a, you know. So I am tending to go narrow, wide, but I'm trying not to do that. So I might leave a bigger gap there. This is just to give you an idea of what it can look like, and then we stick them down. So I think I'll go with that. And now I'm going to stick them down. So I'm going to use double-sided sticky tape. And the only reason I'm going to use double-sided sticky tape is because it's quicker. So I have several different widths. So I've got that one's about 1 inch and that one's about 1/2 inch. So that will stick it down securely. I'll just pop that to one side and I'm going to put the tape directly onto the papers. So peel off. So again, double-sided tape, it's got a sticky side and a backing. So it's got sticky on both sides. Now I haven't done that the whole length of the paper because I know my strips are slightly bigger than my card. But just peel the backing off. Get my bit. Oh, just found my flowers. They're falling on the floor. I'll get them out. So I'm going to stick to my fingers. So I'm just going to stick this on in a reasonably random manner. And then I will probably use it to cut a flower shape out of now that I've found them. Now, I've mentioned using them in scrapbooking, the shapes that you make, the toppers, or on a card. But there are other things you can use them for, which I'm going to show you once in a minute. I've got a couple of little ideas that make nice uses of these smaller shapes. Maybe not the bigger shapes are probably best suited for cards, but there are a few nice ideas. Now, this might be something that your kids would like to do as well. If they're not quite old enough to be doing cutting out, then you could cut them out for them, but they could definitely do the piecing together, the stacking, layering. That's the word I'm looking for. So I don't know what the weather's like with you today, but it's been very windy here for the last 3 or 4 days and quite wet, though not as wet as some places. I mentioned being very tired before. We've got a new dog. We adopted a Shih Tzu. He's 10, so he's not a young dog. So it wasn't a puppy thing, but he kept us awake all night last night. I don't know quite why, but it better not happen again tonight because I'm old and I need my sleep. Okay, so we've created our new striped paper. I'm just going to trim these ends. They are a bit sticky. I may have to actually throw some paper away here because they're a bit sticky. That's not like me. Get my flower shape. So I'm just going to cut out the smallest of the flower shapes because I want to show you another use for it. So if you think and place your flower shape in such a way that you will get the best out of your stripes, I think we might go with that one. And then I'm going to draw around it on this side and then cut off my pen marks. Unfortunately, I had a pencil and I've lost it. I would recommend you only use a pencil. Or actually, I've had another idea while I was thinking about it. Something I did with another shape, which I'll show you what I did. When I made this heart-shaped pin, because the colours of the card were quite similar, I drew that line round using a Sharpie. Now, what I could do is, I could do that with this, because I've got this nice pink. And I'm just going to go back over my cutting outlines with the pink, because that will be part then of the design. One of the advantages of printing your templates on card or onto paper and laminating them, which is what this one is that drawing around them like this with the felt tip, you don't get the paper of your template going a bit soggy. I'm trying desperately to keep this template from slipping. So now you can see our outline, and we're going to cut it out so that I leave some of the navy blue card. Sorry, navy blue, dark pink felt tip round. So very carefully going around the whole of the flower shape. I think on the template sheet I gave to the VVH, there was smaller flowers than this, which would probably be more suitable for what I'm going to show you. But this is the smallest size that I have. I need to print out my sheet again. Now this one, this would be quite nice with the push pin on the back. Or I'm going to show you the other idea that I had with for these little toppers, which I find quite useful, is to make them into a bookmark using one of the extra large paper clips that you can get. Now, because I've gone over that with pen first, I have got a couple of lines, but stripy flower. Now, when I say the over large paper clips, this is what I'm talking about. These are quite big ones. Now, I'm going to stick this on with a glue dot, but they don't work awfully well. You'd be better using a glue, proper glue, a glue gun, or I'm trying to decide which way to have this. I think I might like it horizontal or maybe a little bit on an angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to think of, I actually might use one of these sticky pads because I want to be able to cover the top of the paper clip with the glue, but not have it sticking to your book. So I might use that but leave the paper on the back, so I can mold that around that paper clip and it's not going to be sticky on the back. So the idea is, have I got a book to hand? I haven't. You get to your page and you just put the paper clip over the page and this can stick out the top of your book. So that's quite cute. I think that's nice. I like that one. Okay, right. So what else did we do that I could show you? Oh yeah, we talked about cutting elements out of the paper you have. And I've got this paper with the flowers on it, and I'm going to I could just cut this element out. And I'm going to show you something else you can do with them that's quite decorative and quite nice. Now, I use, in my crafts, I use clothes pegs a lot. I use them for holding cords when I'm doing macrame. I use them for holding paper together when I'm doing something with paper craft. I use them for a lot. I like to use them for clipping things onto other things. So in scrapbooking or card making, I quite often use my pegs to clip on an element. I think they're quite decorative. So one way to make your pegs just a little bit more than just a clothes peg is, so there you can see I've cut that element out. You could then also cut a circle and pop it on the circle. But I'm going to use my clothes peg and I'm going to decorate it with the paper. So that's your simple wooden clothes peg. This is the bit you squeeze. And again, glue dot. I'm going to put the glue dot onto the peg so I can get the elements in the right place. You just simply peel that off and it leaves the sticky glue behind. Just there. I'm going to just fold it in so it's not hanging over the edges of the peg. And as simple as that, you just add your flower. So now you've got your decorative peg. So you can clip it onto things like that. They're pretty, isn't it? Now, the children could do this really easy and they'll like them. They can use them for pegging up notes to remind themselves of things. You could also use that as a bookmark as well. So that is really nice way to use them. So the final thing I'm going to show you is something a little bit more difficult, but you can use it in such an awful lot of ways. And it's to make this little box. Can you see that? This is made from double-sided card, and purely because then you've got an inside element and an outside element. And I've seen these used stuck onto, I'll just get my card back, So stuck onto a card like that and used like a frame. So inside will be a little picture of somebody or another element like a button or something. And these are quite simple to make. You need a circle. I'm going to make one slightly smaller than that because I thought that one's quite big. So this is 3-inch diameter circle. You need your double-sided card. I'm going to use the same one before because I quite like this one. But I might do it the other way around so that this is the centre. And I might choose an element like that so I can fit my circle quite easily over that element. I'm going to lightly draw around it. I should have got a pencil because you can rub that out after. Okay, so this is where as well your scalpel comes in handy because we're not going to cut through this, but we are going to score it. So I'm cutting out my 3-inch diameter circle. I used the 3.5 when I made the other one, but I thought it was slightly too big for a card. Now, if you do scrapbooking, this is an ideal way of displaying lots of small photographs because you can make a series of these little boxes and put them side by side on a page and put a little element in each one. So that's my circle. This is going to be the inside of my circle and of my box, opposite to that one. So what you do is, I'm going to line mine up on the centre of my box. You want to have a square that's got equal sides all the way around. So I'm going to choose the 1/2-inch mark again and just lightly score along that 1/2-inch mark. If you don't have a board like this, you can just lightly draw with a pencil a square. So we're going across there. Oh, now it's moved. And my 1/2-inch mark there. Lightly score it along. So what we're aiming to do is score a square on our circle. Very roughly. Okay, so that's my scored lines on. Can't see them very well, but I assure you they are there. And then you simply fold upwards along your score lines and it creates your box shape. Might have missed one there. Might be not missed it, but it's just a little bit reluctant to fold. So once you've folded in, we'll fold them right in. We'll score, just run our fingers along the fold line so they're nice and crisp. And that makes a very nice pattern with that flower in the middle. Think you'll agree? We're like that. And then we could put in maybe an element like the button. Or, as I say, it works really well with small photographs, little headshots, or, you know, pictures of your pet or whatever. So that, and you can line them up side by side. You could put them on a card, on a greeting card. So I like that idea. So the final one, as I say, was the push pin. So I've just glued that push pin on the back. So again, you can pin that to your notice board. Again, you could use the template to cut a picture out of a photograph for that. Okay, so that is me for today. We're a little bit shorter than usual, but I hope you agree there were some good ideas there of ways to use up your scrap paper. Again, as I said, I will read back through all your comments if there's anybody out there. It seems a bit weird because normally I can see that somebody there and today I can't. But have a go. Watch it back, have a go, comment, let me know how you're doing. and I'll see you again shortly. I'm not sure when I'm back again, but I hope you've enjoyed today. So this is me, Kate, from What Kate Made, saying goodbye and see you soon.